In Ojibwe tradition, the Makiawisug are revered as mystical beings that inhabit the dense forests of the Great Lakes region, particularly within the traditional territories of the Ojibwe people. These small humanoid spirits are believed to possess a deep connection to the natural world, existing in harmony with the trees, animals, and waters that surround them. Makiawisug are often depicted as guardians of the wilderness, possessing a keen awareness of the intricacies of their forest domain. They are said to have an intimate understanding of the land's pathways, hidden trails, and secret clearings, making them invaluable guides to lost travelers who find themselves disoriented amidst the labyrinthine depths of the woods. Despite their reputation as benevolent guides, Makiawisug are also known for their mischievous nature. They are said to have a playful demeanor and a penchant for trickery, particularly towards those who enter their territory without showing proper respect for the natural world. Unwary travelers who stray from established paths or demonstrate disregard for the forest's sanctity may find themselves subject to the whims of the Makiawisug, who delight in leading them astray or playing harmless pranks. However, it is important to note that the Makiawisug are not inherently malevolent beings. Rather, their mischievous antics serve as a reminder of the need for humility, reverence, and reciprocity in one's interactions with the natural world. Those who approach the forest with respect and humility are more likely to receive the guidance and protection of the Makiawisug, whereas those who show arrogance or disregard may find themselves at the mercy of their playful tricks. In Ojibwe culture, stories of encounters with the Makiawisug are often shared as cautionary tales, emphasizing the importance of humility, reciprocity, and a deep respect for the interconnectedness of all living beings. Through these stories, the Makiawisug serve as guardians of traditional wisdom, guiding individuals towards a deeper understanding of their relationship with the natural world and the responsibilities that come with it. The Makiawisug are often associated with the forests of the Great Lakes region, which includes areas of Michigan. The Ojibwe people, who are indigenous to the Great Lakes area, have passed down stories and beliefs about these mystical beings for generations. Michigan, with its abundance of forests, lakes, and wilderness areas, provides a suitable habitat for the Makiawisug according to Ojibwe tradition. These small humanoid spirits are said to reside in the depths of the forests, where they act as guardians and guides for those who venture into the wilderness. While encounters with Makiawisug are typically described in folklore and traditional stories, rather than in contemporary accounts, their presence in the cultural landscape of Michigan and other Great Lakes states remains significant. The stories of the Makiawisug serve as a reminder of the deep spiritual connection that indigenous peoples have with the land, and the importance of respecting and honoring the natural world. Okay, here is my story. The wind whispered through the towering pines that surrounded me as I ventured deeper into the forest outside Sheboygan, Michigan. The air was heavy with the scent of pine needles and damp earth, and the fading light cast long shadows that danced among the trees. I had always been drawn to the wilderness, but tonight, as darkness descended upon the forest, an uneasy feeling crept over me. I brushed it off as mere nerves and continued on my way, my footsteps echoing softly in the stillness. As I walked, the trees seemed to close in around me, their twisted branches reaching out like gnarled fingers grasping for my flesh. I quickened my pace, my heart pounding in my chest, as a sense of foreboding gripped me. Suddenly, a strange sensation washed over me, like the feeling of being watched by unseen eyes. I froze in my tracks, my senses on high alert as I scanned the darkness for any sign of movement. And then I saw them, small shadowy figures flitting among the trees, their eyes glowing in the darkness like fiery embers. The Makiawisug. My blood ran cold as I realized I had stumbled into their territory. I had heard the stories, of course, tales passed down through generations of Ojibwe elders warning of the mischievous spirits that dwelled in the forests of the Great Lakes. I tried to retreat, to flee back the way I had come, but it was too late. The Makiawisug surrounded me, their eerie whispers echoing through the night as they closed in on all sides. Desperate, I called out into the darkness, pleading for mercy, but my words were met only with mocking laughter. The Makiawisug danced around me, their tiny forms twisting and contorting in the flickering shadows, their eyes gleaming with malevolent glee. I stumbled backwards, my heart pounding in my chest as I realized the true nature of the Makiawisug. They were not the benevolent guides of legend, but vengeful spirits, angered by my intrusion into their domain. With a final chilling shriek, the Makiawisug lunged forward, their tiny hands grasping at my flesh with surprising strength. I fought back with all my might, but it was no use. The darkness enveloped me, and I knew that I was lost. And so, deep in the forests of Sheboygan, Michigan, the legend of the Makiawisug lives on, a terrifying reminder of the dangers that lurk within the shadows of the wilderness. As I stumbled deeper into the forest outside of Sheboygan, Michigan, a sense of unease settled over me like a suffocating blanket. The trees loomed overhead, their gnarled branches twisting and reaching towards the darkening sky, casting eerie silhouettes against the fading light. I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched, that unseen eyes followed my every move. But I pressed on, driven by a mixture of curiosity and foolish bravery. As the darkness deepened, the forest seemed to come alive with strange sounds, rustling leaves, snapping twigs, and the distant hoot of an owl. Each noise sent a shiver down my spine, amplifying my sense of dread. And then, in the shadowy gloom, I caught sight of movement, small, fleeting shapes darting among the trees. My heart pounded in my chest as I realized what they were, the Makiawisug. I had heard the stories, of course, tales whispered around campfires and passed down through generations of Ojibwe elders. The Makiawisug were said to be small humanoid spirits, guardians of the forest who guided lost travelers to safety. But there was another side to their nature, a darker side that few dared to speak of. I tried to turn back, to retreat from the looming threat of the Makiawisug, but it was too late. They surrounded me, their tiny forms swarming out of the darkness like a swarm of malevolent insects. With nowhere to run, I stood frozen in terror as the Makiawisug closed in around me. Their glowing eyes bore into mine with an intensity that sent a chill down my spine. I opened my mouth to speak, to plead for mercy, but no words came out. The air was thick with the stench of decay, and a sense of suffocating dread washed over me. And then, with a sudden burst of movement, the Makiawisug attacked. Their tiny hands clawed at my flesh, their sharp nails tearing through fabric and skin with alarming ease. I screamed, the sound echoing through the forest like a primal cry of anguish. But there was no one to hear me, no one to come to my rescue as the Makiawisug dragged me deeper into the darkness. As I was pulled down into the depths of the forest, I knew that I would never escape the clutches of the Makiawisug. For in the shadows of the wilderness their power was absolute, and their hunger insatiable. And so, lost to the world above, I became just another victim of the Makiawisug. A cautionary tale whispered among the trees, a warning to all who dared to tread too far into the heart of the forest. As the Makiawisug closed in around me, their eerie whispers filled the air, sending chills down my spine. I could feel their tiny hands clawing at my clothes, their sharp nails leaving scratches on my skin as they dragged me further into the depths of the forest. The darkness seemed to close in around me, suffocating and oppressive. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig felt like a warning, a reminder of the danger that lurked in the shadows. I struggled against the grip of the Makiawisug, but it was like fighting against an unseen force, a relentless tide pulling me deeper into the abyss. Panic surged through me, threatening to consume my rational thoughts as I realized the gravity of my situation. With each step, the forest seemed to change, morphing into a twisted labyrinth of gnarled trees and tangled undergrowth. It was as if the very landscape itself was conspiring against me, leading me further into the heart of darkness. And then, just when I thought I couldn't bear it any longer, we emerged into a small clearing bathed in moonlight. The air was still, the only sound the rhythmic chirping of crickets in the distance. But the tranquility was short-lived. Before I could catch my breath, the Makiawisug began to chant, their voices rising in a haunting melody that sent shivers down my spine. I stumbled backwards, my heart pounding in my chest as the Makiawisug closed in around me, their eyes glowing with malevolent intent. I could feel their presence pressing in on me from all sides, suffocating and oppressive. And then, with a sudden burst of movement, they lunged forward, their tiny hands grasping at my flesh with a strength that belied their size. I screamed, the sound echoing through the forest like a desperate plea for help.